My name is Juka Sisi. Thank you so much for joining us here on the Sister Show platform. We are super excited to have you back on here. Okay. And if you didn't know already, this is the platform where we bring you burning topics and have honest conversation to inspire and empower pretty much everyone. So please stick around. This is going to be a packed show. And of course, I have to introduce and welcome my sisters first. Hello, sisters. And of course, all our sister squads below, we are saying hello. You guys have been so amazing. And we are always excited to have you on the platform. But listen, today we have a really packed show. We have a new contributor for you guys all the way from Namibia. Her name is Helena. And of course, we also have Jessie, and she will join us when we have the conversation about feminism. We will have a new segment called the Hot Soup, and that is a really exciting segment for you all. We know that you're going to enjoy it. And also, we will play a game right from the top. So let's dive right into this show. Please continue to comment below and make it a conversation. This is going to be really an amazing show today. So on that note, let's jump right into this exciting show. And the first thing on the segment to warm everyone up, hopefully, would be a game that we will play. It's called the Taboo Game, and it's going to be based around feminism and with women that have made impacts in feminism. So let's get started. Ole is going to lead the game, and hopefully no one gets a chance to cheat.
So Juka, I'm going to actually name this game the Feminism Championship, because you guys have pretty much said that you all are feminists. So let's see how good of a feminist you guys are.
Uh-oh.
All right?
Well, I know I am a feminist. I stand for yeah.
Well, we'll see after this game. If anybody does not follow the rule, you'll be dismissed.
Okay. Ole, you really in your element. You really like to trick people. So you're standing there like, okay, let's see who's good. Okay, let's go.
So you guys gotta listen carefully. So the rules of the games are, I'm gonna show you a picture, and it's going to be a picture of a credible feminist, like Juka said. And I'm going to read the code. And once I read the code, the person that's going to be the one that's guessing, the rest of the sisters are going to describe the person without telling you the name, and then you have to guess. And after 4 tries, if you're not able to get it, I'll deduct 5 points. And then that means you can only score maximum of 95%. And then I'll read you 4 options.
Okay, Ole, we got it. Let's go. I got this. Let's go.
All right, you guys ready? Okay,
yeah.
So who's gonna go first? Because that person will not see the picture.
Let's have Jay go first. Let's have Jay go first.
Why is Jay going first? I thought you said you got it. Come on.
That will give me a chance to
I'll go first. That's fine. To cheat. All right. Okay. So Jay should not look right. Okay. So do you guys see the picture? Jay, no peeking.
Who is that, Ole?
I know. Oh, okay. Yeah, I have enough.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm gonna read the code. Together, hand in hand, with our matches and our necklaces, we shall liberate this country. Can you guys describe to Jay who said this powerful words?
Okay. Jay, it's Jay, you can look now. What is Jay doing? Jay, were you doing that the whole time?
You told me to close my eyes.
No, when you could have opened it after she started.
She was a wife. She was a wife of one of the most powerful men in Africa.
In Africa.
I wouldn't say powerful, but one of the
wife.
most influential men in Africa.
South
And
Africa.
her husband was a president. Initials WM.
Mama,
you can't say that. Mama,
that's the mom. You cheating.
Why can I not remember her name?
Yep.
It's
South Africa.
Winnie Mandela.
Yay!
Yay!
Moms, don't cheat, moms. Why did you start to spell?
Cheating. You're gonna be dismissed. Okay, so Jay actually scored 100%. Because baby, close your eyes. No cheating.
She's cheating. I can see her. She needs to turn her face around.
Close your eyes, Elimuda.
If you guys don't know who this one is, I'll kill you.
Okay.
Guys. Do not go silent. Raise your voices. Use your influence to inspire the next generation of men to honor women. Which of the feminists said these great words?
She's an actress.
And she was married to an actor too.
And she has a lot of kids that she adopted.
Angelina Jolie.
Yeah.
That was easy.
Wow, Amy.
Wow, Amy.
Only on 3 tries. 100%.
Man, I'm not going last. Let me go now because
Who wants to go next? As
Ole,
we
I'll
go,
go next. But
as
let
we
it
go
not be
on,
hard,
I'm gonna make
please.
it harder.
Ole, a black person, please. Okay.
No,
She
you're
won't
gonna
even
say
put the last person.
Okay. Let me know. I'm not
Close
looking.
your eyes. All right, so I'm gonna read the code. No country can ever truly flourish if it strikes the potential of its women and cherishes its of the contribution of half its citizens. Which of our great feminists said these words? All right, the game begins.
She wrote a book.
Yeah, she's a wife of a former president.
Oh, is it Michelle Obama?
Oh, so easy.
Come on, you guys, you got like 2 tries. Ready?
Mm-hmm.
Can you guys see? It's this one. Okay, so I'm going to read this next code, and it says, "We cannot all succeed when half of us are held back." So, which of the great feminists? Said,
No, I'm just kidding. I'm
She
just
wears a
kidding.
hijab.
He wears a hijab.
Malala Yousaf.
Oh Lord.
Oh my God!
Jesus.
So Mama got like 500% because she didn't even need a.
I truly
You
do.
memorize like Dr. Moms just won, like blew all of you guys off. That was like.
Yeah, yeah.
This was legit. This was all legit. All right, so we're going to close this segment, and I'm going to read a quote from one of my favorite people, and I believe it's going to be your favorite as well. She said, "I am a feminist. I've been a female for a long time now. It'd be stupid not to be on my side." Dr. Maya Angelou.
Yeah, Dr. Maya Angelou, indeed. Yeah. So thank you, Ole, for that. Hopefully you guys can play along at your house when you're watching right now. And there's a next game that we're gonna play quickly. It's gonna be emotions that we're gonna describe that is a stereotype for women's feelings, usually by society, especially men. So let's see if we can all guess these really well. So we're gonna have Amy and Ole pair up to play this one. So Amy, you could look away, right? Okay. Okay. All right. So let's see if Amy can actually figure this out, and with the help of one sister, Ole, and let's see if Amy is gonna also dump Ole or keep Ole as a sister after she gets this guess right.
It's you alone in your own house.
You say you're alone. You can't say the word was lonely, and Ole just said you're alone in your
I
own
already
house.
know it was lonely.
So definitely, Ole, you failed, and Amy, you failed because Ole failed you. So Amy, you need to dump Ole as a sister. On that note.
How else can you describe that? Okay, you guys try. How would you describe it?
No, you got it wrong. So let us move on. Okay, so now it's the doctor's turn since Ole and Amy lost miserably. Okay,
No,
so let's go ahead.
That's cheating.
No, you kind of did. You told her the word, exactly what it was. Okay, go ahead, Jay. Dr. J, go ahead.
Advocate or are happy for someone. I'll give you a better scenario. So girls in high school would have groups that would dance for exactly.
The doctors are whooping you guys.
That's not fair. That's so
Whatever.
I mean, I could have said if you cheer for someone, but I didn't say that.
Okay, so Ole, let's go ahead and let me see if I can pull you from the gutter right now and see if you can get this right. So you guys got it? Okay, so someone that is has a lot of feelings, someone that has a lot of
emotional.
I rescued you, Ole. Let me see actually if I can rescue Amy too. Amy, do you want to play? Do you want me to help you out and see if I can rescue you, or you want to stick with Ole as your favorite sister?
If you put favorite, then I don't want you to rescue me. But if you just want to rescue me, just rescue me.
Or you can stay in the gutter with her then. Okay, I'll still rescue you because I love you anyways, Amy, even though you get on my nerves. All right, Amy, let's see if I can rescue you. So, someone that is usually described as being not strong, someone that is not able to do too much, or someone that's not able to lift. What is it?
Lazy.
No, someone that's not able to lift something. Someone doesn't have any energy. Someone that is not strong.
Like the way you feel right now.
Like the way you feel right now. No. Someone doesn't have. Someone that doesn't have any energy. What is it?
Drained.
No, Amy, this is the last one. Someone that's dragged something for so long and now you're feeling
Exhausted.
when you're fasting, you don't have any energy, so therefore you're
exhausted.
No, Amy.
Hungry.
Weak.
That's what you are now, hungry.
Okay, so now it's time for me to actually do it with Dr. Moms because I don't trust Dr. J and Dr. Moms together. I really don't. I honestly don't. I'm not even just saying this just to say it. I don't. Okay, so Dr. Moms, let's start. 30 seconds on the clock. Let you have it. Okay, Dr. Moms, we're going to go ahead and start. Jay, please do not say and move. Do not do anything. All right. This is something that maybe women sometimes are stereotyped and they tell them they are too authoritative.
Angry?
They have too much
Angry? Anger.
No, they maybe want to be like very strong. It's someone that is looked at as being too dominating. Someone that is too dominating.
Too bossy?
Okay, another word. Someone that is with the gender, you say it's like the other gender.
Like a horse.
Someone that is, Ole, be quiet. someone that is very, someone that is energy that's very dominatory.
A dictator?
You're getting close. So, but use the gender in the description. Someone that just looks like or behaves like
a man.
Okay, and what is the energy that comes with the man?
What energy? Not energy.
Moms is masculine. You fail. Let's go to Jay. Laughing at Amy. You said masculine. That was 30 hours after.
Description sucks.
Okay. This is the last one that we're going to play with Dr. J. Let's see if she can actually win this without being paired by another doctor, Moms. So let's see if she gets this. All right, Dr. J, you ready to play? Someone that's not with another person, a woman, if they're not together with somebody else.
They're single.
Geez.
That's my life. That's my life, so how would I not know?
That was a very good guess, Dr. J. So that was fun, ladies. I'm so excited to bring you guys the next segment on the Sister Show. And of course, we have the beautiful and lovely Helena all the way from Namibia. Let's say hello. And it's late for her right now, but she's here with us. And Helena is at the other side of the world. She's obviously in Africa, but the south of Africa, which is Namibia. And she's here just with us today, of course, and she will be a regular contributor on the Sisters Show. So we're so excited to have her. And she's gorgeous, of course, and she's a sister now. So we're going to be discussing feminism, what it means to be feminism, and also if you guys think that we should all be feminists. But I'll allow Helen first to introduce herself to our lovely audience, and then we take it from there. Helena, please introduce yourself.
Hello, and I must say I'm so excited. In Namibia, obviously, we say Ongaipi, Uhandet, how are you? Greetings, that is of course from the land of the brave, a beautiful country in SADC that is between South Africa and Angola, the country here, the most beautiful country, yes, with beautiful people, of course you can tell.
That is
so
true.
I'm really excited. So I'm really excited to be part of the Sisters Show. I'm sister number 6 now. And I think that this is such an awesome platform, and thank you so much to the sisters for welcoming me and making me part of the family. I'm so excited. I'm going to learn so much, and of course, obviously willing to share so much about my country and my experiences here. And I think also just for sisterhood, for everybody that is watching, all the women out there in the world, that for sisterhood, it is important that we stand together, we unite together, and of course to remember that no matter where you are on the continent, we are global citizens, and whatever issues or problems that we are having in Namibia, be it in South Africa, be it in the United States, we are global citizens, and we are definitely going to get through whatever it is that we are going through together as sisters. Yes.
That's wonderful, Helena. We're super excited. We're even more excited than you, I think, because for us, it means so much because we're all from Africa, but we're from the west side, I don't know, and you're from the south side. And I think it brings diversity. So we're really excited for you to be a regular contributor on the Sisters Show. But can you tell us a little bit more about what you do so our audience can actually get to know you?
All right, so I am a media personality that is both on radio and TV. I do primetime news and of course a radio host. And I'm also a Break Free from Violence ambassador, which is a campaign that is run by our First Lady of the Republic of Namibia. Basically with the campaign, we fight gender-based violence and all social ills that happen within our society. And like I said, we are global citizens. So whatever we are fighting here in the land of the brave is of course a national problem.
That's great. And I'm so glad that you guys are taking everything in your hands to lead tomorrow's future. And on that note, we will get into the conversation, what it means to be a feminist and what is feminism. And also, do you all think, ladies, that we should all be feminists? And I'll start with Dr. J, and then we'll see what you guys think.
So thank you, Duka. Thank you, Helena, for joining the sisters today. We're proud to have you here. What Duka asked me basically is just asking me, what is your name? I think we should all be feminists because the definition of feminism is two categories, normative and descriptive. Normative means both men and women are entitled to respect and right. So I don't think there's anyone that's going to disagree with that. Descriptive means women are disadvantaged to right and respect. So why should we not be a feminist? So just those two definitions is definitely enough for me to believe that we are all supposed to be feminists. And this movement started back in the 1800s, and it's still ongoing and it's still rejuvenating every minute by minute. And we're having more and more cultures that are buying into the movement.
I believe that feminism is such a broad concept, but to me, what it really means is that women should be given voices when it comes to making decisions that affect their lives. It also means that society should come together regardless of your gender, whether you are male or female. We should all come together to fight to break the barriers and biases that have been holding women back for so many years in reaching their potentials. It's a fight for equality when it comes to social issues, when it comes to economic issues, and also political issues as well.
I think every person should definitely be a feminist, because what are we talking about when we talk about feminists? And like both ladies said earlier, is we want equal rights for women. We want a seat to be made available for women at the table. We want women to be accommodated when it comes to decision making. We don't want women to be sidelined. What we are saying is that we want women to be at the same pedestal where men are being held. And basically now, as the time that we are in now, we are fighting for those rights because we feel for so many years and for so long now, women have been sidelined, women have been pushed aside, and women are made to believe that there's a certain place for them in society, and that's the only place where they are. But women are saying that we are so much more and we can excel in so much more, and we want to be given that opportunity. And that's what we want the rest of the world, whether you are a man, especially for men also, because we want men to support us in this, and whether you are a man or a woman, we want you to support us so that our voices can be heard and so that people can know that a woman, your place is not just in the kitchen. Your place can also be in the boardroom, and you can definitely also be superwoman.
Do you all think that women have been suppressed for so long that now there's been movements obviously about feminism, and now we are also not valuing the power or the essence of men in our lives or in society in general? Like, is it because of the suppression that we had to go through for so long, and now we're just like us, women, and not valuing them?
So Duka, I don't think, and I think there's a lot of misconception about feminism, and that's definitely what feminism is not about. Feminism is not basically women bashing men or hating men, and it's definitely, and I've seen in different areas where people tend to say, oh, women that are not married that don't have husbands are the ones that are feminists. They hate men, or feminism is some form of male bashing strategy or technique. It's pretty much saying we want equal rights, equal opportunity, equal access, equal pay. It does not in any way, shape, or form stay saying that we want to take men out of power.
So I agree with what all of you guys, what you guys had to say. I disagree with Juka at some point. We were talking in like past tense, but I think we still are going through the same issues right now. So it's not like we're talking about these things like it used to happen. It's still happening. It's ongoing right now as we're speaking right now. And I think for me, it's just what I have a problem with most of the time is, but some men who are against feminism, right, would think that the only reason why some of us, especially if you're single like myself and you, Juka, of course,
Did every girl call you guys out?
I mean, not married.
Listen,
Okay,
Linda, speak for yourself.
I mean,
Comment below.
hold on.
I'm taken, but she's single. Comment below.
I'm actually far from being single. I'm not single. But that's beside the point. But my thing is, I just have a problem and an issue with whenever some men, right, always think that the reason why some of us women fight for feminism or advocate for feminism is just because we're single, like we're unhappy, we don't have a man in our lives, or we're not married, or it's always like, oh, it's just a group of people who are just not married and they just think that they're just so angry at men, which is like far from different from the story. We just want to be included. You know how most of us Black people would fight for Black Lives Matter? It's almost the same exact concept of fighting for our rights. We want to have a voice, like Helena said. We want to be able to be heard. We don't want people to be suppressing us all the time. We've seen it to an extent that you have victims sometimes who have been raped, right, in our societies. But as soon as a man voice out what happened, the woman's voice is already suppressed, and no one tends to believe the woman anymore. So feminism is like a bigger issue than we actually think as a society. It's
to you ladies' point, I mean, I believe in equality and I believe in rights. For me, when I look at anything that's injustice or anything that right is not equal, I have an issue with it. So for me, I think it's important to be a feminist, but then I think beyond that, for me personally, I don't look at it as a feminist thing. I just look at it as equality. It's like what Amy said, like fighting for Black lives or Black Lives Matter. For me, it's like, I'm just fighting for equality across the board, whether it's injustice against women, injustice against Black people, or injustice against, let's say, the disabled, right?
Juka, not to cut you off, right? But I have a point to push back on, because you said you want to fight for everyone. It's not just for feminism. But then, yet, if you look at the Black Lives Matter, that kind of like contradicts that, because with Black Lives Matter, it's fighting for Black lives. It's not saying, there's an other side which says, but all lives matter. Yes, we understand all lives have always mattered, but it's Black Lives Matter too, or it's Black lives that have been suppressed for so long. And that's the same thing too. Like when you look at feminism, it's not saying that men are not important or men should not have their rights, but it's just saying for far too long, women have been suppressed, and now we have to elevate that.
And I agree, Ole, but I'm saying this, like, for me as a person, I just care about justice. I just care about what's right, what belongs to me as a woman, what belongs to you as a Black person, and what belongs to you as an ethnic or minority or disabled person. For me, and yes, there are some women that should have to lead the movement, right? Or all of us should equally lead the movement for things to go right. But of course, you will have people that are not going to be part of that movement. For someone like me, I'm in every movement. But at the same time, I don't want the rights of others to be abused because I want my rights to be elevated. So for me, that's what I'm saying. Like, yes, feminism, but also let's respect everyone's rights, right?
Ule has a point. When you actually come out and say I'm just fighting for equality across the board. It doesn't matter what it is. As soon as you point out that term, it doesn't matter what it is. The fight right now, this moment as we speak, is not fighting for human rights or whatever all the other rights you just mentioned, right? The focus at this point, at this juncture right now, is feminism. So you can't say, oh, I'm in for all. I'm gonna fight for all equalities. I'm not just trying to put words in your mouth, but what you're trying to say in other words is, oh, if it comes to men's issue too, I'm gonna fight for, I don't think there's a term menism, but let's just say menism, right? We understand. That's not what we're talking about right now.
Okay.
What we're focused on right now is, let me learn, what we're focused on right now is feminism and fighting for women's rights, period.
Okay, period. For me, when I look at it, it's like, okay, every household, there's a man and a woman. Just to be the devil's advocate, but I get you guys' point. But I'm just saying, there's a man and a woman, and they're in the unison, right? Mm-hmm. You guys coexist. So when you, in society, unfortunately, I'm afraid that at some point, the women's right, yes, we need to elevate it, but also I'm afraid that we will disregard the rights of men. So what happens, what happens if we disregard, don't kill me now, don't come for me, I'm just being the devil's advocate. What happens if we disregard the rights of men? And then we get to a point where there's an inequality, and that the right of that man is married, right? And that man is supporting a family. And that man that is fired and replaced by a woman also has to provide for the family. So what happens to the family, that household, and those kids that they have to raise? So what do we say about that?
I think what is very important that we need to understand why we are fighting for the rights of the woman and why this specific topic and discussion is important. First and foremost is the women are not trying to replace the role of the men. The woman is not trying to take over what the man is doing. The woman just wants equal rights. The woman wants to be able to say, yes, you are the man of the house, and yes, you pay the bills of the house, but it's okay, I can also pay the bills. All the woman wants to say is that I also want to contribute. I also want to have a say. I don't want to take over. And I think it's very important, what Amy also said earlier, is that especially how men also look at it, is they look at it, it's coming from a point of women that are single and they want to bash men and they want to what. I think it's very important that we understand the oppression that women went through for them to come to the point and say, look here, we want to have this conversation and we want to ask, why is it that I cannot sit at the table? Why is it that, for example, like Olay said, that when I gave a presentation in an office and I presented something, my voice wasn't heard. And when a man said the exact same thing that I said, it was taken more.
So Juka, where I agree with you, though, is when are we taking it too far? So to me, where that comes in is currently, and I'm in no shape or form saying no to feminism, as I already said earlier on. But sometimes I worry that, okay, are we going to get to a place kind of like what Yuka said, where we took it too far, where we now have to reverse and fight for, I guess it would be what, feminism or whatever that terminology would be. And the reason why I'm saying that, we all have sons, right? And what I'm afraid of is there's all these opportunities that are being put out there for girls. And of course, I'm all about it. We need to elevate girls to get to a point where all the equality that we're fighting for is realistic. But what I do also, I'm afraid of is there's so much focus on everything about girls, like all the scholarships, all the empowerment, there's so much trainings, everything. It's all surrounded on girls, whereas the boys, especially boys of color, I feel like are being neglected. And we may get to a point, it's of course not gonna be in the next 5 years or so, but let's say 10 years down the line or 20 years down the line, are we going to be trying to reverse this and making sure we have an equal playing field for
Ole, it's very important what you're saying, that especially the fact that with the movement, there's a lot of opportunities for the girl child. And we're obviously having all the empowerment for the girl child. But what we now also need to do in society is not forget the boy child, because we need to educate the boy child. Because what we are now doing, which is very dangerous, is if you are empowering a girl child and sending her back in society with an unempowered boy child, then that's where the clash is going to come. So we need to make sure that, and that is why this type of conversation, and that is why we need to clearly understand why we are fighting for feminism and why we need the men to support us. Otherwise, we are raising a boy child in society who's not going to know what to do with all this empowerness that this woman has. And then it's the same as you're empowering a woman and you're sending her back to a house where a man doesn't understand what feminism is, or what empowerment is, and what equality is. So
I just want to make it clear that feminism is not a war between men and women. It is way beyond that. It's not even about that. It's not even close to that fact at all. And like you all said, it's just like Black Lives Matter. It's not about a war between black and white. What we're talking about is empowering girls. When we look at Africa, there are so many girls that are being pulled out from schools to get married at a very young age. This never happens to a boy child at all. It's always the girls that are being forced to get involved in female genital mutilation, early marriages, and all those things. So we need to make sure that when we talk about feminism, we focus on the main issue here. What we're trying to do is level out the playing field. And you can only do that if you empower the girls to come at the level where the boys are. And when we get there, and I don't even think we'll get there anytime soon, but when we get there, then we can drive the car equally for everyone at that point. We also just have to believe that and just know that when it comes to the idea of feminism, women have so many potentials. When God created us, and when God created human beings in general, He gave every single one of us very great talents. And it's just up to our societies to help us explore and see what these talents are, what these gifts are, and just unlock these gifts. But if we're not empowering our girls, if we're not sending them to school, we're doing the whole human society a disservice, because we are wasting a lot of talents that are not being discovered. And I think the idea of feminism is surrounded by this factor.
So Dr. J, what do you think about this? So in essence, what Ole is saying, it applies a lot in the United States. And I do agree with some of the points that she made. And with Dr. Mams, it seems like it's definitely directly impacting Africa, right? So it seems like Africa is way behind when it comes to all these issues that feminism has always fought for since the beginning of the time. And for the West, they're ahead, even though they still have to continue to fight. But so what do you think about those two dynamics? So should we all continue to pull together the same rate, even though one is behind?
Let me address this issue between what Dr. Mams just said and what Ole and Helena said. When you think about it a few seconds ago, when I came on and gave the definition of feminism, it says both men and women equally to be respected and given their rights. So that was the reason why I said that. When we say both men and women, that means even the kids, the boys, should also be given their rights. We're not saying give the girls their rights and suppress the other boy. No, we are saying give all of us equal playing field so we can all nurture ourselves and grow together as a society as a whole, not necessarily suppressing one and giving, empowering the other. No. When we say equality, that's basically what feminism is saying. It's saying, give us our rights because we were the ones that were suppressed. So we want to be on the same equilibrium as men and women are supposed to be, so we can all nurture each other and move forward. Now, when you come and talk about Africa and the West, Well, Africa is way behind in terms of feminism, and that's related to the culture that we are struggling to differentiate what our culture say and what feminism is supposed to be and what religion says, and all of this together. The West still has their issues, like Juka Ule just said earlier. What she encountered at work was definitely still existent. So the West is ahead. Africa is far behind. So that's why we need to engage our people to understand what feminism is really about. So they don't think that feminism meaning is what it means is to suppress the men and empower the women. No, we are saying let's empower each other as society in general. Let's all be educated about what feminism is really about.
So yeah, just to interject in there, as you mentioned, feminism is definitely not saying unequal, right? But what I'm saying is, as a consequence of us trying to create that equality, what may come out, which is unintentional, would be boys actually being left behind. We all, I believe, are pretty much in the same path, saying the same thing. But I think that's kind of a risk that we all have to keep in the back of our mind, especially in the US.
I totally agree. What I'm saying is that's why it is important to educate ourselves and educate society in general, so that way we don't leave anyone behind. Because when there's this misconception about what we are fighting for, people may think we are supposed to empower one individual and let the other one go. Because as a woman, and you being a woman and you being a feminist, you're not going to sit behind and let your child, your son, be left behind. So it is our responsibility as mothers to nurture all our kids individually, together, and be all on equal playing grounds or playing field.
And I think everyone brought up a really good point, and that's why this conversation is happening. And it's a heated one, of course, and we all have different views on it, but the good news is we are all on the side of women and equality and justice, I think. So let's talk about this one, ladies. What is the difference between modern feminism and feminism back in the old days? For me, I think Africa is still feminism in the old days. US is dealing with modern feminism. So I think the two are kind of different. So if we approach it the same way, that's when disaster will happen. I feel like Africa needs more pulling. America, they're doing good. It still needs to be pulled up, but not to the same level. So these are different dynamics, old and modern. So what do you guys think about this?
When we talk about modern day feminism today is having equal pay, right? Let's just say, for example, not just equal pay, but even having, making decisions for us women. Let's say, for example, the Trump administration recently, I think it's about 2 years ago or a year ago, voted against abortion. And it was just a whole bunch of men on a round table and making decisions for us women, which just to me just doesn't make any sense. Like, how can a whole bunch, I'm not saying like we don't want men to make decisions for us, but we have to be involved in those decision making. What they don't understand the implications to this, right? How many young women are raped every single day? So you're basically suppressing them and saying, you don't have a choice, you're being raped, but at the same time, I'm gonna force you to have that unwanted child that it was not even your will.
Yeah, so I think, Amy, that is really important. And I think that's why I said earlier, like the in America or in the West, they're dealing with modern feminism issues, right? To elevate things, the equal rights, equal pays and stuff like that at the job and so on. But in Africa, it's actually, they're still dealing with old time feminism issues that they need to bring up, especially for you, Helena, yeah. The fact that you are in Africa right now and you see this day to day, and FGM situations or issues are still going on. Early child marriage, Dr. Mams mentioned that earlier, that's still going on in Africa. So they're still dealing with old-time feminism issues that needs to be fought for.
Yeah, definitely. And actually, I'm very, it's very sad to know that there are still a number of African countries. Obviously, Namibia happens to be one of the not privileged but lucky ones to not be in that state where child marriage is still enforced on young girls. I think that certain countries have done very well away with that. So the reason why also with Africa, why it's such a bigger struggle is because, again, here we are not only fighting what is happening right now. But we are then also, it's a generational fight that we are having. We're fighting with men that are coming from a place where they understand that things are supposed, it's not even about understanding. It's they feel this is how I was raised and this is how things must be. So we're trying to fight a mindset, a mind shift. We're trying to fight that. And I feel that it's very important. We need to shift the mindset of our men. There's a lot of work that needs to be done in Africa. And the work has to start with just educating our men. Because so many of them are still so stuck in the old ways of doing things. So many of them are still stuck in the old ways. And they are so stuck in the tradition and in the culture and in all of that. And unfortunately, the conversation that we're having with them now, they are fighting back and saying, but if this is how we have been doing things for all this time, why must we change our ways?
It doesn't benefit them to change their ways. It's actually, it benefits them to stay the way exactly they are.
It's funny because this conversation I just had last week again, and it was just during the same conversation I was having with my friend. And she was amazed because she's lived here for a minute. She went to school here, so now she's back home. So I think things are very different, right? It's a different perspective. And she was telling me a story also about when they went to the village to meet the people and, talking to the men and the women. But, it's crazy to even know that sometimes it's even the women who are in the traditional method, right? It's the women who are actually forcing themselves to be oppressed, right? Because she gave me a scenario of how they were telling them how, FGM can affect them because they have to explain these things based on the constitution and why, right? How FGM is affecting them and all these things. You can go to the hospital and give birth. They'll tell you, no, we should not go to the hospital because when we go to the hospital, they're going to try to give us medication and we don't feel the pain. We need to feel the pain so that our kids could be blessed.
Yes, exactly.
So it's crazy because it's more than men suppressing us, it's also women suppressing themselves.
And Dr. J, or maybe all of you ladies actually mentioned that already, because it's a deeply rooted issue in the society. So literally the women that are actually advocating for those things to continue to happen, right? They sincerely believe that that's how it's supposed to be. And like you guys said earlier, the culture, but we're going to get into that very soon into the next few minutes of this conversation. What is your take on this? How far has the movement been able to penetrate in Africa, or how far have they not been able to? What is your take on that?
Feminism hasn't gone deep down into Africa at all. For example, let's say it's like a cake. Maybe everyone is hungry here, so we can talk about a piece of cake. It's just on top of the icing. It's just on top of the cake. It's just the icing. It hasn't gotten to the bottom of it. I think the people that are more into the feminist movement are the ones that are educated, the ones that have been exposed to the West. If you go deep into the villages, you still have women that are deeply rooted into their old culture, their old ways of doing things. And this is really difficult to eradicate because you're trying to fight a battle where the person does not really want to go to war. The person believes that everything that's going on is so perfect for them. It's what's actually making them being a woman. And you come into them and telling them for them to change their ways, for them to change their beliefs. I think that's something that we all have a say in it, and we all have to continue to educate women so they understand most of these things. There is no supportive data to indicate that, for example, what Amy said, that woman that thinks for her to be more of a woman and to have a blessed child, she needs to go through pain. She needs to be educated to understand that she can actually lose her life by doing certain things like that. So
a lot of that we have to do, a lot of the work that we have to do has to do with educating people, because really a lot of these factors affect our lives. It has gone to an extent, especially in the area of reproductive health, that a lot of women's lives are at risk because of our cultural beliefs. And feminists for so long have been trying to change a lot of our beliefs when it comes to our reproductive rights and when it comes to things like contraception. Amy, I know earlier you were talking about feminism and reproductive health. Even in the US, this is a problem here. But when we talk about Africa, there are a lot of women that are not even aware of their right to contraception. And just having closed space pregnancies can actually affect your life. You can die from that. So these are things that we are able to go back and talk to these women and change their mindset and, educate them that this is not about your beliefs. This is not about you just, wanting to stick to the culture, or this is not about us trying to tell you that your culture is worthless, but this is about your lives. If you look at the US, for some years ago, it was illegal for women that are unmarried to have access to contraception. We have come a long way when it comes to contraception and reproductive health in the US, and for abortion rights, as you were talking about earlier. So it's important for feminists all around, especially for us that are educated, that are here, to try to go back to Africa, try to go back to our roots and actually educate these women and tell them that this is not about us fighting the culture, but this is about us trying to help them have a better living.
I think what we need to do, especially as far as when it comes to Africa, is we need to educate and educate and educate and educate our women. Like it was brought up in everybody that spoke now. It's just the problem that we are having right now. It's just that our women are not educated, our women are not exposed, and our women do not understand what it means to have a right as a woman.
So that's really great conversation for sure. And I hope that you guys are definitely commenting below if you agree or if you disagree, because it's not just what we say. This is a whole conversation for all of us to try to move us as a society forward. So that being said, this one I think is a fundamental issue that we really have to talk about, which is feminism in marriage.
So when feminism comes into play and marriage, I think it's totally different. It should be looked at a totally different angle. Because feminism is talking about how society is supposed to view women as, and how women are supposed to be treated in society. When it comes to marriages, this is a mutual understanding between two people that decided to live their life together. So whatever they do in that household, as a feminist, I don't think we should be the one to tell people how they should live their life. Whatever works for your relationship, maybe not what's going to work for me, and what's not going to work for you. So in that case, marriage is supposed to be a union between two people that are supposed to augment each other to make their household better, to make their lives better. That doesn't mean we're supposed to be in here in a relationship and divide everything equally. We're supposed to help each other. Wherever your weakest points are, that's where I'm supposed to come in to augment that. So I think there's a lot of misconception when we say I'm a feminist. People think, oh, she's going to be the one to rule the house. She's going to tell the man what to do. That's not what it is. Whatever works for my relationship, maybe what's not going to work for another feminist.
Okay, Dr. J, I see where you're coming from, but I have a different take on it, because I feel as if maybe a lot of us that, let's be honest, if we're going to have an honest conversation, a lot of us that are into feminism, or a lot of us that really believe in empowering us, we are very strong people, right? We are not the weakest link in the group normally. We are very strong, and we fundamentally believe in our opinions and what we want to fight for. So where do we draw the line when it comes to our relationship to also allow the men for us to not have the same energy as the guy is coming into this relationship, for them to have the space to be allowed to grow as a man?
If you were very strong people, as a strong person, you should not have a threat as someone else's strength. Okay, I think a weak person may have a problem with someone else being strong around them, but if you're strong, you should be strong enough to understand someone else. You should be strong enough to accept someone else's strength to make you a better person, to make you a stronger person. That's why I think if you're a strong person and you're a feminist, you should be able to allow a male person in your life and accept their strength as well. It's not a competition between male and female, or husband and wife. We are there to augment our strength together so we can have a better household or a better life.
So when it comes to marriages, individual marriages, it depends on the couple themselves to kind of decide how they run their household, just like Jay was saying, society has little input in that. I think the point where feminism comes into play is when the woman's right is at risk. For example, if a woman wants to, go to school and further their education, if this is something that their partner is not supporting, I think that's when feminism comes in to actually advocate for that woman. Or when a woman wants to be financially free and start up a business, if the man in the marriage is actually holding back that woman from doing that, that's when feminism comes in to actually push that woman further and give her a voice and advocate for her. But also, if the woman wants to be 100% caregiver, that's a job that you cannot get paid for. I think that's a job that we always discount how big it is. I think raising kids is very important, and it's very expensive, and women do a really good job in doing that. And nowadays we see women actually doing that and also kicking ass at work as well. So we can do it all. So we just need that support to help us to get there.
I don't think you still approach my point that I was trying to make. But you brought up really good points. Helena, what do you think of the point I'm insisting on making? Because if we're saying that we're in this together, right? And we are agreeing we should not suppress men, right? We should carry them along with us so that we could actually make this happen. And in order for us to make that happen, they have to hear us, and they have to listen to us, and they have to know where we are coming from. But in order for them to be able to do that for us, they also have to be heard. And the resistance that we are all seeing, especially in the African culture, is the fact that they're feeling threatened, right? And they're feeling left behind, and they're feeling that we're being way more empowered, right, than what they're used to. I'm not saying what they're saying is correct, but if they're bringing all these things to the table, when do we also say as women, if we want our movement to be fruitful and to make sense, we also have to listen to them and to also give them the space to be able to be a man, because we cannot be the woman in the household and at the same time be the man, and they don't have any space for them.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that's where we draw the line also. It's very important to identify again, when we are fighting feminism, what exactly is it that we want? And we must not forget then, because if you get into a relationship, you still want your men to have, and I think this is where most men look at us and they're like, what exactly do women want, because sometimes it comes across, maybe the message comes across wrong. And again, we don't want to take over the role of the men. We still want to be married to the men of the house, and we still want the men to be the provider. And that is not, and sometimes, like I'm saying, sometimes I think men misunderstand it. Sometimes comes across as if we are saying we want to replace and we want to take over their roles. And that's not what we want. We just want equal rights. And we're not saying that in the marriage. And I think this is when the conversation takes a bit of a curve. Because in the marriage, it does become different. Because then again, here, this is where you want the man to be a man and a woman to be a woman. And I think this, yeah, let me not be the one to give an incentive or an advice in this piece, because I know that I think this is also where the men catch us. This is where they say, but what exactly do you want? And this is where men say, so do you want to wear the pants in the house? Do you want to be the man of the house?
Yeah, so I don't believe feminism has a place in marriage, period.
Ole just checked you guys. Wait, Ole just said feminism has no place in marriage, period.
No, sorry, let's move to the next segment.
I like that. Ole just cut you guys off.
Yeah, okay, so it doesn't have a place in marriage. This is basically what you're saying.
Yeah, it doesn't, because feminism is all about creating equality, like in the society, like which is outside of the marriage, right? Because we start to bring, which outside of the marriage is saying, okay, if the man can do it, if the man can be a leader, if the man can run for president or whatever level they can be, the woman can also do the same. But when you come inside the marriage, you cannot use that same concept and say, oh, we are equal, because there's a reason why you have like a man and you have a woman, right? So it definitely doesn't have a place in marriage, because the man and the woman can never be equals. Pretty much, that's just the bottom line. Outside of a marriage, yes, like in the corporate world, outside, like whatever, feminism does come into play.
I think I'm agreeing with you, Ole.
I have a question. So are we saying that we are fighting, we are going through all of this and we are fighting and we are having parades and we are educating our women to be equal, and you take that hat off when you enter your house?
Yes.
Definitely. That's pretty much what I'm saying.
But Ole, I believe that all of us by this point agree with the fact that men and women are not equal. We're two different species. It's only a woman who can carry a pregnancy for 9 months. A man cannot do that. There are the physical things that a man can do and a woman cannot do. So we're not saying that we're equal. What we're saying is we want our rights to be equal, even when it comes to marriage. Like I was saying before, if you're in a relationship and your man is violating your rights, if you're in a if you're in a relationship and your man is beating you up every day, that's not fair.
No, but that's different. That's different. Right?
But that's when feminism comes in.
No,
that's when feminism comes in to advocate for the woman's right.
Right.
Okay.
But that's societal issue.
That's injustice.
Issue.
That's
right?
injustice.
No,
No, that's societal issue. That's basically saying, okay, that's fighting for like the right of a woman, right? It's not saying like whether the woman is married or not.
Part of the definition of feminism includes equality in societal justice.
Okay. Which what I'm saying is that's societal justice, right? That's part of societal justice.
When it's inside the marriage, then it involves the whole thing. Then feminism comes into play.
It involves society.
Right. So it's not mutually marriage and it's not mutually exclusive.
You have to keep it separate, right? Because you could say if a man can do it, a woman can do it, etc., whatever. Like in outside of the marriage. But if you bring that same concept into the marriage and say, yeah, exactly, and that energy, and say, hey, we are equal here. Like you could do it, I could do it. Like you bringing this.
But I think we agree on that, right? We agree on that we're not equal. When you compare men and women, it's like comparing oranges and apples. We are two different species. We're not the same breeds. What we're saying is we want equality when it comes to our homes, when it comes to the outside, when it comes to everywhere. I always get to disagree with you because you're my favorite. I hate this.
No, but I love it.
No, let's go.
So basically what I'm getting from Ole and Dr. again, which is what I'm asking, is that basically what we are saying is that feminism only exists outside your relationship, like with your marriage. That's where it exists. Is that what we're saying?
Okay. Dr. Moms brought up a really good point, right?
Yeah.
But I think we all believe that as women, because we already said we believe in the rights of women, right? And I think Ole also fundamentally believes that. And I believe that. But we're saying the same way we're saying in religion, it should be separated, because I'm not going to go, if I'm a feminist, I'm not going to go in front of her where they're praying, right? And I say, I'm going to be praying because I'm going to lead the prayer because I'm a woman and I should be allowed. It doesn't exist there because there are certain reasons why it's said. The same thing I think should apply when it comes to the marriage situation. You could have your rights and be protected as a woman, not allow any domestic violence, not allowed to be abused, right? All those things. But alongside with that is, I agree with Ole where we should also say you cannot bring that energy into a marriage, because you know why? If we say marriage, there's no division. It should be a mesh. There's no, this is yours, this is mine, this is me, this is you. We are a union, one. So when you're a union, there's no division. If there's no division, therefore there's no 50-50 in that. If I can't pick up the trash, you should be able to just go and pick up the trash, but I'm not supposed to say it's your job, because then I'm drawing the line.
Oh, so Duka, you're just agreeing with me with what I said earlier?
I didn't agree with you earlier. I'm not still
No, you disagreed with me earlier, but you're just now agreeing with me with what I said earlier.
No.
So you oppose or propose? Choose one.
She's playing the feminist card right now, right? She heard you say
you oppose or do you propose?
I oppose because I fundamentally oppose because
I totally agree with what you said, Juka, when it like do not bring that energy inside your home. I think we all agree with that.
That's what
we all
okay.
agree
So you
that
propose.
the man is always going to be the man of the house and the woman is always the woman of the house. And
So
that doesn't mean that
we won the
Huh?
debate.
I think we
We
won.
won the debate.
No.
Yeah.
But are we then not confusing the man? Because now the man is in a homestead where he's treated a certain way, and he needs to go into society and understand that women must be another way.
But isn't that what you want though? For them to be confused so you can win the battle? That's the easiest way.
Totally 110% disagree with Ole, because just like Dr. Mam said, you can't, there are things that happen in the household where the feminism card has to come out. I'm not saying it always have to be standing in the house, like pop out, but there are instances where you have to pull that card out and show it. You know what I'm saying?
And that's the boundary.
But hold on, but let me land, Juka. What I'm saying is,
she's confused. Juka is confused.
Juka is very
So not
confused.
confused.
Juka is landing nowhere. She's just all over the place. What I'm telling you is this.
Comment below and let us know, guys. Comment below.
What I'm telling you is this. When it comes to, just like Dr. Mam said, if you have two parties that are married, that household, the decisions in that household are going to vary from another household. That's number one. Number two is, if I, as a woman in the house, get up a day and say, I want to go further my education and get a master's degree, that is my right as a human being. That's what I want. But hold on. No. It's feminist. It's the feminist card coming out. That's my right. Because do you know that the man would sometimes say, why would you choose to go and further your education? Who is going to take care of me? It's almost like, okay, so what you're basically saying, Ule, is that my job as a woman in that house is to actually take care of you as a man and not follow my
That's not what I'm saying. No, that's not what I'm saying.
Then what are you saying?
What I'm saying is,
She said what she said when she said what she said.
You know, this whole conversation actually just blows my mind because I've never, ever agreed with Amy in anything.
I know, same here. Like, I'm like, what's going on?
Us being on the same page and being against Ule, I mean, my heart is kind of broken a little bit because
I think we should make Amy wear curly hair all the time. So maybe
oh
she
my
can
God, I think that's the
Oh my
magic.
God. Like,
That is
it's
the
crazy.
magic.
I cannot believe she's agreeing with us. Like, it's absolutely ridiculous. Like, this is not normal. I don't
My
know.
feminine energy.
That's exactly what's happening here. The
No,
feminine energy.
Okay, I oppose. We're gonna wrap this up. I oppose.
Look at your parlo, pen para kanya nga.
No. What I said, I think is really clear. I'm not on both sides. I'm saying we're dividing those issues, just like Ole said. We believe no woman should be oppressed. We all know that. We believe there's like domestic violence shouldn't happen at homes. When you say oppressed, that means you should be free and have the liberty to do whatever you want to do in terms of education and other things to bring up your social status, right? That's up to you.
Juka and Ole, what we are trying to say is for marriage to work, there is no universal rule of how one's marriage is supposed to be compatible with the other.
well, that's what we're saying too. That's what we're saying. We're saying that that's pretty much what we're saying. What we're saying is that the way my marriage works with the way somebody else's marriage works will be completely different. Like when you put feminism, it's like universal. We all want equal rights and
But one thing I know,
no differences between.
But one thing I know is universal though, Ole. I could say that is when you're in a relationship, in a union, the moment you start to separate things and draw a line, this is you, this is me, that's when there could tend to be problems in that relationship.
But that's not what we're saying.
And that's what I said in the beginning, that a union, we said a union. Marriage is a union between two people that are supposed to be in love. So if we're in love, we're supposed to take care of each other. So the things that you're not capable of doing, I'm supposed to come in and augment those things so it can be better. That's what I just said earlier. So for us to come in and say, you're taking the trash out, the rent is $50, you're going to take $25. That's what I'm saying. It does not work, and that's why there is so many marriages in the West.
Honestly, in that sense, like I've said before, you know, those things are up to the couples to decide what works. Society does not have any right to dictate what an individual's marriage is.
But the issue that the reason why I have then an issue with that is because then we are coming back to, like we're saying, like in Africa, where feminism, where obviously it's an issue. And if we look at majority of the people, they are married, and it's women that are suffering in these relationships. So if we are saying that this discussion doesn't exist in a marriage, then that's why women will continue to be oppressed, because then it means you need to then, there is a man and there is a woman, and these rights don't exist in your marriage.
Yeah. So Helena, you are perfectly right, okay? For us as feminists to even know we are supposed to how to behave, we have to be knowledgeable, okay? We cannot have lack of knowledge and then say we are empowered. You cannot have the two. Once you don't have the knowledge as what it means to be educated, these women, remember we just said they are culturally bounded to this notion that this is how they are supposed to behave. It's not that they don't want it, they don't even know that they have the chance or the choice to choose between these two. So once we give them the knowledge and empower them, and at that point, then they can even have a conversation. These women don't even have a conversation with their men. They're supposed to just say, go to bed, and they go to bed, get up, and they get up. So that person is totally different from someone that's in the West that knows what it means to have a right to vote, to have a right to say things. And then that woman goes back home. That woman cannot be the one to say, oh, you're the man, you go do this, you go do that, you go do this. No.
Well, on that note, Jay, you brought up a lot of good points, and we're going to summarize this segment. And it was such a good conversation. Yes, I'm going to say the issues that we deal with in society as old-time feminism and modern-time feminism is completely different. And I feel like the old-time feminism is the rights to education, like you guys mentioned earlier, the right to your body and the right to be, right? The freedom to be, to express and be yourself. Now, that's one. But the modern feminism, that's where we are getting a lot of pushback from the men. And I said that earlier, but we are not going to be able to finish this conversation. So comment below and let us know what you think and what you think is actually the right way to approach this feminism and marriage. On that note, we're done with this conversation, this segment. We'll wait for your comments below to let us know what you think. If you guys think Dr. Mams, Helena, and Amy's crew makes sense, put it below. and then we'll say goodbye to Helena. It was lovely to have you here, and hopefully we will see you soon again, especially on the lifestyle segments. Yeah.
No, definitely. Thank you guys so much for having me. I had so much fun, and the lengthy conversations, and of course learned a lot. And I am excited. I can't wait to see the comments. And please, Ruth, be on our side. Yeah. But so I would like to leave you with a very popular quote. I'm sure that most of viewers have seen or read this before, have heard it before. It says that if you educate a man, you educate an individual, and if you educate a woman, you educate a nation.
That is true. Like we're doing right now, we're educating the world, hopefully. So thank you. We love you, Helena, and we'll see you on the next segment.
How do you say thank you in your language?
Thank you.
No, you lose. You guys are losing.
Jaco.
On this topic, see you next time on the Sister Show platforms. Don't forget to follow us on all of our social media platforms to stay connected. I think we can deal with this topic honestly and not talk about feminism and religion at the same time, because religion, I don't know what you guys think, but for me personally, I have my take on it and I'll reserve it.
Place where we have to bring a certain conversation to the table, which is a conversation of, but are you saying because the Bible or the Quran or because religion has put it in such a manner that the man is the leader?
Most of the Quran was actually translated to us by men. So I think there's a little bit of bias when they translate.
I'm not saying don't bring in the women, but at least bring in the women that are qualified.
We don't want to be in a workplace to just be a prop. We want to be hired because we are qualified for that position.
Whether the old regime likes it or not, the game is going to change.
That's going to come back to bite in everyone that's fighting for feminism itself.
Trending topics around the world, whether it's in the news or whether it's in social media, and for us to talk it out and have a conversation around it. Who has it the worst? It's on social media right now.
I think the question is a no-brainer.
Black men have it worse than the women.
I'm not on Ole's side. Think about the Black women, how much they're having to go through. They're single parents, they're having to do a lot of things.
So would you trade yourself to be a man then? Because I don't think any of us would want to be a man. So
we all know that women go through hell in society.
Ole, you're not going to have my back. You're going to pretend they're not talking.
There's not much for her to say because it's the honest truth, yeah?
Let's just face the facts. This generation and this day, men are just lazy. Point blank, period. I don't care what anyone says.
Of the hot soup conversation. And of course,
this is actually not the first time that it has emerged. Usually it comes around whenever there's a depression or recession or times like this, that type of return on investment, 600% on your money. So that would tell you that there's something fishy.
I wouldn't put my money on this, and that's just my personal opinion.
I'm glad you wouldn't put your money in it because in the state of Texas, it's actually illegal.
Because when you put your money in the bank, you can get interest, and then in Islam, that's haram.
I'll talk to God later. So, Ole, what you say about this? Have a conversation with God.